bring up Brian Corazon, CEO of MVP Recovery.
Good evening, community. My name is Brian Corazon. I'm the CEO of MVP Recovery and a person in long-term recovery myself. I first want to thank Senator Carney and Senator Kane for allowing myself and MVP to participate in this event each year, and thank them for their support of the recovery community and for treatment resources and recovery resources here in Delaware County for people with substance use disorder. I want to thank all our leaders that are standing up here for that as well, specifically Dr. Taylor and County Counsel, District Attorney Jack Stolzheimer, and the Department of Human Services, all of whom really support agencies like us that are on the front lines trying to help individuals, families, and communities that have been affected by substance use and devastated by this overdose crisis. You know, tonight's event is a event of remembrance. You know, we're here to remember those that we have lost to this insidious disease. As Dr. Taylor talked about, it's so important not just to hear a number or statistic, but to remember who it is we have lost. You know, our loved ones, mothers and fathers and sons and daughters, our neighbors, co-workers, regular, ordinary people that found themselves on the path of active addiction. You know, everybody's story is different. There's no two stories the same. But tonight we speak and we say these names, and everybody that we talk about has lost their life to this disease. So what do we do? Well, first we remember, and that's why we're here. We remember because those individuals' stories and experiences can help save a life today. We honor them by sharing those stories, by sharing those experiences, to help others that are headed down that path, or to help others to avoid that path altogether. We remember by breaking the stigma that's associated with substance use disorder, that's associated with overdose death, that's associated with recovery. And finally, we absolutely remember by remembering that recovery is possible. People recover every day. We do and can recover. We have a large number of people tonight that is in recovery. Am I right? Can I hear you? You know, for me to speak here tonight this year was especially important because on August 5th, grateful to say that I celebrated 20 years of continued sobriety. And for me, my recovery journey started on those courthouse steps, literally. And as thinking back to this 23-year-old hopeless, helpless, scared to death kid, mentally, physically, spiritually bankrupt, I knew I did not want to live the life I was living anymore, but I had no idea how I could make that change. Fortunately for me, the Delaware County Court of Common Pleas made that decision for me. And if I could go back and talk to that person, talk to me, and say that through recovery, 20 years later, you could be standing up here with our state and county leaders. You could be standing up with the district attorney. And you could be working with these individuals to make a positive impact in your community. I would think you had 15 heads. But that is what recovery is about. That's what makes it so special. That's what makes it so beautiful. We rebuild our lives, and for some of us, we create new lives because we didn't have that much of a life to live with to start. And the names that we read tonight, they're not here to celebrate that joy with us. But they can make such an impact on those that are starting their recovery journey by sharing those stories and knowing the devastation of this disease. So we remember to honor them. We remember to motivate ourselves to not give up, to not quit, to continue to move forward, to do more, to do better. And that's why we're here tonight, to remember. And it's my absolute honor to bring up our next speaker, who is a MVP legacy and is the coordinator of the Delaware County Warm Handoff Program that has placed over 1,000 individuals with substance use disorder into treatment last year, and Melody McCready.
Good evening, community. My name's Melody McCready, and I'm a person in long-term sobriety. Not only am I a person in long-term sobriety, but I am also an overdose survivor. It's an absolute honor to be here with everyone tonight. You know, I grew up here in Delaware County, you know, as a younger child, just like they were talking about prior to this, was that, you know, my goals and ambitions were never to be a drug addict. They were always, I wanted to be a teacher when I was younger. And, you know, through time playing sports, it's the same old story that everyone else has. You know, I got started on painkillers, and throughout the years on painkillers, it progressed to heroin and eventually down the road to fentanyl. You know, it seemed like it was a year, but then eventually 10 years later, I was in the same spot struggling. You know, I was hopeless, you know, I became complacent between getting incarcerated, going into treatment facilities. It just ended up being an endless revolving rotation of, you know, in and out of treatment facilities or in jail. Eventually, I ended up overdosing and got brought back by Narcan. I had to be administered Narcan 3 times, and I remember waking up and not even knowing what year it was, what my last name was, and I was just, for the first time in 10 years, scared to death that I was going to die from drugs. You know, I made that decision at that point to change something in my life and do whatever I had to do to get my life together, and at that point I ended up making a choice to go to a sober living program. You know, and through that program, it not only taught me how to stay clean, it not only got me acclimated in a 12-step fellowship, it gave me an opportunity to do other things I never imagined. They helped me get back to school. They helped me obtain my CRS, my CPS, and all these other credentials to help people in recovery that were in the same exact position I was in. It's an honor that, you know, over 4 years ago, the Warm Handoff Program saved my life, and I'm able to sit here and coordinate it every day and continue to give a handout to people that are struggling, not just as a person that's there employed to do it, as a person in recovery that was in the same exact spot as them as well. And, you know, everyone deserves a chance to stay clean, and there's so many different opportunities. When people ask what my job actually is, I tell them my job is to figure out and remove every barrier that it possibly could come into place to get people help, because there's so many different organizations, and throughout Delaware County, we should all just continue to work together and provide those resources for everyone. This is not a competition. These are people's lives out there. These are human beings that are struggling, and we need to continue to provide them the resources and all the information that we possibly can to have another day, and, you know, have children continue to have their parents, and have, you know, family members, moms, dad, brothers, sisters. This disease affects everyone in one way or another, and it's just, you know, a complete honor to be here. I'm super grateful for everyone that has shared previously, and congratulations on the clean time for everyone. And yeah, thank you all. My name's Melody McCready. I'm an alcoholic.